What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video, this is the first time I'm really going to be getting some seat time in our brand new 2024 Audi RS3. So I figured today, why don't I do kind of a side-by-side comparison with our 2016 Audi S3 with the new RS3 to kind of see, the differences. Of course, we'll check out the engines, the specs on them, take a look at the interiors, and then drive each car to feel out the previous generation S3 and the new generation RS3. Obviously, this is the big boy version of the S3, step up with the bigger engine, more performance focused, and it's also a new generation. Also, this car costs twice as much. This car is around 30 to 35 grand. This car is around 65 to $70,000. So let's get right into it, see what's under the hood of each of these Audis. So underneath the hood of the all-new 8Y generation Audi RS3, this packs a 2.5 liter inline 5-cylinder turbo engine, cranking out 401 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, paired to a 7-speed dual clutch. 0 to 60 has been tested by Car and Driver at 3.3 seconds. Audi states 3.6. Now, previous generation, the 8V Audi S3, this gets a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder, also turbocharged, 6-speed dual clutch transmission, 292 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque, and I've done 0 to 60 in 4 seconds flat. Of course, both cars have the Quattro all-wheel drive system. So nice step up with an RS3, of course, over the S3. And then if we take a look at styling, the new generation is a lot more edgy. You got a lot of the cool sharp lines to it. The front end is basically all grille. So certainly a very unique style. The previous gen car for S3 and RS3 look pretty much like this, just a lot more sleek and subtle. Now this one, RS3, is finished in Riviera Blue, which was a $5,000 option from the original owner. And from what I know, this might be the only first-gen S3 painted in this factory color. And then over on our RS3, this is Turbo Blue, which is going to be discontinued in about a month from now. So this is one of the last ones produced in this color, which was a no-cost option. But as you can tell, the colors themselves, a little bit darker on Turbo Blue. And then we do not have the black optics package. So this car just has the RS Tech package, giving us the navigation and a few tech things. And then our S3 does have the black optics performance package, which does actually give it adaptive suspension, which this comes with standard. So taking a look at the interiors for 2017, you could get that virtual cockpit. This one has the previous generation stuff. So just a little screen in the center, normal gauges, flat bottom steering wheel. You have the pretty neat pop-up screen right in the center, round gauges, pretty simple design overall. Got a few toggles, climate controls, cup holders in a bad spot because our water bottles block all the climate controls. You can see no touchscreen, but we have rotor dial and different buttons all down below. This shifter design. Now these are the power operated basic seats, so it's a synthetic leather, but you got the power controls. You could have opted for Nappa leather with stitching, however they would be manual seats. Then you just got some vinyl material and some aluminum trim. So pretty nice in here. It's pretty simple. It's nothing, fancy or anything, but overall pretty nice interior. And then now into the RS3. This is way more tech savvy and a much more premium interior as you would expect. We have the genuine Nappa leather on all the seats, contrast stitching, a little bit of Alcantara. You even have matte carbon fiber. And then we have the two massive screens. You get that full virtual cockpit. You can adjust all sorts of awesome features in it. And then of course the drive modes make a big difference in the gauge cluster as well. Center screen, of course, touch screen. You have a lot more controls for drive modes. You can make this rear wheel drive bias for the most part, and all sorts of goodies all around. Climate controls down here, super simple with these toggle switches. And then we have wireless charging, more storage, little shifter, and then cup holders in a better spot. Very similar style here where this slides out just like on the S3 as well. And definitely a more edgy interior. All right, so setting off in the S3, getting my bearings with this car just a little bit. This is a nice, normal, comfortable car. I've always liked how even this generation, it still feels like an Audi, still feels like a premium branded car. It's not just their cheap car with an Audi badge. It's a nice car. It feels comfortable, feels good. The seats are decently comfortable at 5'11". I mean, I can get good position in it with the power controls, with the extended leg rest, steering wheel moves in good positions. Really good visibility. You have a low dashboard, low windows. I do feel very high up in the car, which could be good or could be bad. It doesn't feel like a hunkered down sports car. It just feels like a nice, normal, really easy to see around car. Now, this one has the black optics performance package, which gives you those magnetic dampers. In comfort mode right now, it is comfortable. It feels refined. We've done 10-hour road trips to Michigan and back a couple times in this car. and it is perfectly fine, quiet on the road, just a good all-around car. Now, when you do toggle it into dynamic mode, put us into manual mode as well, the dual clutch comes alive. Sometimes the shifting can be a little bit slow, but overall, the 6-speed is super snappy, and for almost 300 horsepower, it feels responsive, and it feels really fun. The way the car tightens up a little bit, it's a fun little sporty car. We did do a mountain trip in this car, and I was really impressed in dynamic mode just how well it drives. It just feels hunkered down, and it kind of just gives you that performance focus aspect. We of course have some mods on this, so active exhaust will turn that on a little bit. But it's a car that can handle on rails, and for not an expensive vehicle, this is something anybody can get into, way less than the average price of a brand new car. You know, this car we paid mid-30s for, and it seems to be about worth what we paid. So we'll probably list it for 34, 35 in a couple months when we do go to sell it. And I think for that price range, 33,000 mile car like this is a pretty good bargain. I mean, you get up to 70 miles an hour without thinking, without stressing the engine. For a 4-cylinder with the AW exhaust, it sounds good. So it's fun. I have no complaints with it, especially for the price point. And you can get a much higher mileage one for in the 20s. So it's not expensive to own one of these. I think it is a big step up from the Volkswagen version. I think you really do get a lot going with Audi. And it's fun, yeah. It'll be sad to sell this one. It is a fun car. So yeah, performance driving, that's what it is. Launch control works really good in this. It's snappy, 4 seconds flat, no traction like spinning or anything. Yeah, I think that's my bearings with it. Simple interior, very simple, I would say. Nothing above and beyond for the design or anything. It's just a nice, simple, normal little car with a lot of fun factor to it with good performance, I would say. So swapping around into the RS3, about 100 more horsepower, almost a 10-year newer physical car. However, this is obviously the next step up in car from S to RS, and we're also talking about 8V to 8Y. So got a lot of changes between the two cars. First and foremost, these seats are definitely nicer. I mean, the Nappa leather is beautiful. It smells like genuine leather in here. I love the look, the comfort level, the single piece backs. I mean, these cradle you more like a high performance car, and for over $30,000 more, obviously I would hope I get a lot of things like that where it's better. Seats, definitely more comfortable, more roomy feeling. The interior is significantly different. The dashboard feels higher. You feel a little bit more sunken into the car, I would say, and it does feel a little bit more open in here. That's something we've noticed already. Obviously, it's more edgy feeling. The tech, there's a lot more of it, and it just feels like a big step up. Refinements level, it feels really comfortable, really refined. It feels like a nicer, higher end car, which is a really good plus, especially for the price point. So it feels like a big step up. I think Audi did a good job on their 3 Series, updating it to be a lot nicer. And it certainly shows when you're just driving this in normal mode. Coming standard on an RS, of course, we have the adaptive suspension, several more drive modes. We even have progressive steering. So there's a lot of performance factors in this that the S3 just won't have, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, normal driving, definitely no complaints. I feel like the windshield feels a little smaller. Normal visibility feels about the same. You just notice that dash is a little bit more prominent. Turning circle, I feel like is a little bit worse in this car. Could just be this does have a much wider front end track than the rear, so can't quite do the same 3-point turn. I will say I like the little tiny shifter. I know a lot of people make fun of this, but it's out of the way. I think it's a lot better. Now, if we go to our drive modes, we have the same toggle down here. If we get out of there, we can toggle into our different drive modes. So dynamic mode is basically the biggest mode you have in the S3. However, this car has a few extra goodies. So into the manual mode. Just short shifting now, we only have 190 miles in the car. A lot quicker already. You can just tell that 5-cylinder is so smooth. It is very, very powerful. And obviously the 0 to 60 time on this car is faster than a rear-wheel drive M3. So pretty impressive to see that. Steering is nice and tight. And then if we tap the RS icon, we have more drive modes. We have RS individual, RS performance, and you can go to torque rear, which basically is a drift mode where you can make this a rear-wheel drive car and truly rip on it. We also have the gauge cluster that has changed a lot. You feel a lot more performance to this engine when you let off the gas. There's more resistance, the engine slows you down more. Transmission is a lot snappier in the shifting. Sometimes on the S3s, and this has been pretty common with that generation, it may not always let you downshift into a higher RPM. So this one seems to give you a little bit more control, really, really quick. And that 5-cylinder, as we're not going crazy yet. And the cool thing is you can already bone stock hear the turbo noises in this car. There is more drama to this, and certainly so much more performance. A few other things like creature comfort wise, obviously the cup holders, like I mentioned, better place. You don't have to cover all of this with your water bottles. We have wireless phone charging. One thing I like with the S3 better is the steering wheel. This one looks fantastic with perforated leather. It does feel kind of big. I don't know why, it just feels like a big steering wheel. The S3 has the flat bottom and it feels smaller. I think it's the same wheel that's in my Lamborghini, so I really like the S3 steering wheel. Wouldn't mind a better wheel for this car. Again, it looks great, just I want the flat bottom and I want it a little bit smaller. Wow. Man, I can't wait to run this car in. This already just feels so smooth in power delivery. And in the stock form, it sounds good. The 5-cylinder is a very unique firing order. I believe it's 1, 2, 4, 5, 3 or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's it. And just being an odd number cylinder, it sounds very unique. Once this has an exhaust on it, it's gonna kind of sound like the V10 in my Lambo because it's technically half of the same exact engine. Man, and we are just short shifting under 5,000, just keeping it a little bit baby, being so brand new. All right, so we got some twisties. Let's play with the handling just a little bit. There's a lot of character in this car already that you can tell. Gosh, that sounds so good stock. I can't wait for the exhaust on it. But when you do take turns quicker, it's pretty composed. I mean, the S3 is also good too, but you can tell there's just a little bit more steering in this car. The progressive steering, I'm noticing it. It's a little weird. I would say you can just tell how the front end starts to turn a little bit harder as you turn more. So it's going to take a little bit getting used to the handling characteristics with this car. Lightning quick transmission. Alright, that about sums up the test drive in the RS3, pushing it just a little bit more. So yeah, comparing it to the S3, big step up in every way possible. We're going to keep this more long term. It's going to be a car we're going to have for a minute. And this is kind of going to replace a lot of what my Nissan GT-R had to offer, given the practicality and performance. So this car is already pretty close to the 0 to 60 time of my old GT-R. I could only get about 3.3 out of that car on the roads, and Car and Driver tested this at 3.3. So this car with some mods and a mild tune is going to be very similar in performance to what I'm coming from the old GT-R. So I'm excited for that aspect with this, and yet it's also going to give us that refinement luxury level that the S3 has, but up a notch being the newer generation car. So yeah, definitely a sweet comparison. Progressive steering is the biggest thing I'm going to get used to. It does steer a little weird. I don't know, it's hard to describe. For those of you who own one of these cars, what do you think about the steering? It just feels, I don't know, there's something unique about the steering. I don't know if I like it just yet. I don't know, we'll have to play with that more, kind of push the car more to really feel it out. But certainly a sweet car. All right, coming back from the test drive in the RS3, certainly a fun car and kind of everything I expected. It's better in every way than the S3. Of course, it costs nearly twice as much, so it better be better in every way. Only thing a little weird, I would say, the steering just is going to take some getting used to. It's just a little bit different. Other than that, performance-wise, luxury-wise, refinements-wise, definitely a nice step up. We're excited for it. We're excited for all of what it has to offer. And like I said, it has a lot of characteristics from my old GT-R. You can feel the transmission in slow speed, so it reminds me of that. And then the performance and precision of the GT-R, this kind of has. So this is going to be a really good replacement to, of course, the practical S3, but also to the wild GT-R. So we're excited to put this through its paces for several years to come. And again, when you look at styling, it's certainly different. I still think this is a gorgeous car, so clean, so classy, a pretty timeless design, nothing crazy, but it just looks really good. The new one, not everyone likes. It's a little interesting, I would say, very bold design, but I think it'll grow on people, and we certainly do like it. And it's a fun couple days so far with the new car. But there's my thoughts with it. I think should be a pretty fun car to own, and excited to film more videos with it, modify it, play with it, and really make it our own. But that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content with all of the cars. And we're gonna enjoy the RS3, start working on it, and film some more videos with it, and have a heck of a lot of fun.